Yeah, the White House is the focus of our Sunrise Live this morning. We're following reports that over the summer, the White House turned down additional doses of the Pfizer vaccine, which means as Pfizer fills orders around the world, the U.S. could see vaccine delays in the coming months. So under the current contract with Pfizer, the Trump administration committed to buy an initial 100 million doses, enough for 50 million Americans, with an option to purchase as many as 5 times more than that. But as I mentioned, the White House opted not to lock in an additional 100 million doses for delivery in the second quarter of 2021. However, the current administration says between Pfizer, Moderna, and other vaccines in the pipeline, the U.S. will be able to accommodate any American who wants to be vaccinated next year. And the government's Operation Warp Speed, which is designed to push out millions of doses quickly, is going to be briefing President-elect Joe Biden and his team later this week, while Congress is still trying to push out some financial relief. But again, you guys, it must have been tough, though, for the Trump administration, no matter what administration it was, so early on in the summer. Obviously, the FDA is looking at Pfizer just this week for that emergency use authorization. So they probably didn't know how much to buy initially.
Yeah, and there is no indication at this point that with Trump talking today that there's going to be any more coming, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, you think Pfizer probably has a responsibility to other countries as well.
Yeah,
So we'll have to see how they divide it up amongst them all. Thanks a lot.